An urgent email can ruin your whole day. Your mind starts racing, your chest feels tight, and one problem seems to expand to fill your entire world. That feeling is universal. The ancient Stoics had a remedy for it. They called it the view from above. It's a mental exercise. It's not about escaping your problems. It's about seeing them in their true light. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this. He was a Roman emperor. He kept a private journal. He wrote that we have to learn to see things as they are, not as our fears paint them, not as our desires paint them. So by the end of this, you'll have a blueprint, a practical one, for using this technique to dissolve anxiety, to diffuse anger, to find a steady calm, no matter what happens. What is this mental shift? It can shrink any problem down to its proper size. And how can you start training your mind to access it? Right now, this is a journey. It starts in the confines of your own worries. It goes to the edge of the cosmos, and it comes back again. We'll define the practice. We'll uncover its roots. Its roots are in the philosophy of Marcus Aurelius, and we'll walk through the exact steps, the steps to make it your own. This isn't about positive thinking. It isn't about denial. It's about gaining a perspective so vast it brings instant clarity and resilience. What heavy weight in your life could be lifted just by learning to look at it from a different angle? The view from above is a change in how you see things. You start by looking at the room you're in. Then you pull back to see the building, then the street, the whole city. You keep going. The real weight of this thing you're carrying, that daily weight, was the Roman Empire. Marcus Aurelius carried it for nearly 2 decades. There were invasions along the frontier, political plots inside his own court, a devastating illness that swept through the cities. He had every reason to be consumed by anger or by fear, by the sheer pressure of it all. But he left behind a record of a mind trained for calm, his private journal, what we now call the Meditations. It was never meant for publication. It was a personal toolkit written in Greek for a man reminding himself how to be good under impossible strain. One of his most vital tools was the view from above. He would write to himself, urging his mind to rise. He wrote, "Think of the substance of the whole, of which you have a very small portion, and of the time of the whole, of which a short and indivisible interval has been assigned to you." This is more than looking at a map. It's connecting to what the Stoics called Sympathaya, the deep interconnectedness of all things. He saw his own life, his struggles, as one small thread in a vast, living fabric. His personal anger was a tiny knot in that weave. The empire's troubles were another pattern. Seen from the right height, they were all part of the same design. This wasn't about dismissing his duty. It was about performing it without being destroyed by it. In another passage, he tells himself to look at things from above. The number of gatherings, the conflicts, the passing of lives. He lists names of famous people from history, now long gone, and asks what difference their struggles make now. He was shrinking his own moment of crisis by placing it alongside centuries of other crises, all of which had come and gone. Think of a modern leader during a major crisis, a natural disaster, a financial collapse, the weight of decisions, the flood of information, the eyes of millions watching. To function, they cannot live inside the panic of each second. They must, in some way, adopt a view from above. They have to see the crisis not as a personal attack, but as an event within a larger system, a chapter in a longer story. That mental shift is what allows for clear-headed action instead of reactive fear. Marcus Aurelius was doing the same thing 2,000 years ago with parchment and ink. He was building a balcony in his mind, a place to observe the chaos below without falling into it. So consider your own life. You may not rule an empire, but you carry your own weight. What is the empire you manage? It might be a demanding job, a complex family situation, a personal project that feels overwhelming? What if, for a moment, you could see that responsibility not as a world-ending burden pressing down on you, but as a single, meaningful task within the grand scheme of your entire life? Within the even larger flow of history, that shift in vantage point doesn't erase the work, but it can drain the dread from it. It transforms a crushing weight into a manageable load. Because you finally see its true size, physically stepping back in an argument, it creates a buffer, a little space between the event and the feeling that comes after. That space is where you have some freedom. The Stoics had a framework for this, the dichotomy of control. You sort everything into two piles, what's up to you and what's not. Your judgments, your efforts, your intentions, those are yours. The weather, traffic, other people's opinions, the stock market, those aren't. But we tend to live as if everything is in the first pile. We tie our peace to things we can't command. The view from above is the tool. It helps you see the sorting. By zooming out, you get the distance to ask the question. In this vast scene, what here is actually mine to control? Epictetus said it. People aren't disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. That email from your boss isn't the disturbance. The story you tell yourself about it, that's the source. The story that says this means I'm failing, or my job is at risk. The view from above lets you see the email differently. Not as a personal verdict, as a single data point, one digital packet among billions. It goes into the category of things not fully up to you. What is up to you is your next move. Your assessment, your choice of response. That shift changes everything, from being submerged in the reaction to observing it from a calm distance. Think of watching a storm. If you're standing outside in the rain, you are the storm. You're soaked, buffeted. But if you're inside, looking through a window, you see the same rain. You can observe its power, but you're no longer defined by it. You're in the dry, watching. The view from above builds that window in your mind. It moves you from being the emotional weather to being the observer of it. So take a current frustration, a tension, an anxiety, an irritation. Identify the hot feeling, then ask, what's the silent judgment fueling this? Am I judging this as a personal affront? A catastrophe, that judgment is the link you can loosen. By seeing the bigger picture, you can see the judgment is often out of scale. It's a story you're telling, not an immutable fact. And you can edit the story. This doesn't suppress emotion. It doesn't tell you not to feel. It gives you a higher vantage point to understand what you're feeling and why. And from that quiet place above the clouds, your next action becomes a choice, not a reflex. To start, you need to be in the present moment. You can't really get perspective if you're not actually here. A lot of anxiety is about the future. It's a story about what could happen. And regrets, those are about the past, a story about what already did. The issue starts to feel huge because we aren't just looking at it. We're tangled up in it. We've sort of become the problem itself. So the first step isn't about running away, it's about showing up. It's about seeing where you are and what you're holding without rushing to change it or argue with it. That's the Stoic idea of mindfulness, being present to yourself. Seneca wrote about this. He said the biggest thing that gets in the way of living is expectancy. Hanging everything on tomorrow and losing today, you end up arranging the things fate controls, and you give up on what's in your own control. What are we doing, he asked, but putting off our lives? We postpone living, we're just waiting. This exercise starts by ending that wait, by landing completely in the now. Before you can get a wider view, you have to be truthful about where you are on the ground. So let's try it. Wherever you are, whatever's on your mind, take one deliberate breath, not to fix anything, just to notice, feel the air come in and go out. That's your anchor. That simple thing makes a little bit of space, a sliver between you and the whirl of thoughts. It's the moment you step back from the storm and find the window. From there, you can look at the problem as something separate from you, not as the weather you're drowning in. Now, bring your attention gently to your physical senses. Without judging, just notice. Can you feel your body's weight in the chair, the feel of your clothes on your skin, the temperature of the air around you? Name 3 sensations you're having right now. This isn't a distraction. This is the foundation. By rooting yourself in the simple, solid reality of the present, you take power away from the catastrophic story in your head. You're not in that imagined future where everything's gone wrong anymore. You're here, in a room, breathing. The problem might still be real, but its heavy, all-consuming feel starts to soften. It becomes a situation you're facing, not an identity you've become. From this stable place, this launchpad of the present, you're ready to start the ascent. To climb up to a clearer view, start by getting above the room you're in. Let the ceiling open up, the walls fade back. You lift up, you can see the whole building now, its shape, the rooms laid out like boxes. You go higher, the building becomes just one on your street. You see sidewalks, trees, cars like little toys, the sounds close to you, a voice, a clock, they blend into a hum. Details turn into patterns. You're not in it anymore, you're watching it. That's the first shift in scale, from being inside the feeling to seeing the place where the feeling is. A problem gets its charge from the walls around it. In a tough talk at home, the whole world can shrink to that room, those words. But from up here, your house is one structure. On your block, there are dozens like it. In your neighborhood, hundreds. Each one has a full human life inside, its own quiet dramas. Your tension is real, but it's contained now. It sits inside 4 walls on a street in a city. It has a location, and that location has a limit. The sensory change matters. When you're in a stress, everything is loud and sharp. A critical comment feels like a shout. A deadline feels like a wall. But as you go up, the edges soften. The intensity muffles, the issue doesn't disappear. You're just hearing it from a few streets over, not from inside your head. That distance is what the Stoics were after. It's the start of seeing things as they are, not as they feel. Think of a small annoyance from your day, spilled coffee on a shirt, a rude comment online, a sudden change that wrecked your afternoon. Try this first step with that memory. Don't analyze it, just see it. See the room where it happened, then see the building. Then see that building as one small part of your street. Watch the event still there settle into its actual physical space. It's not everywhere anymore. It's there, and you're here above it, looking down. That simple act of moving it in your mind, it's reclaiming territory. It's the first quiet proof that you are bigger than what happens to you. From this quiet place, the next part of going up is waiting. Look out at the horizon. See your city as just a patch of light on the dark side of the planet. A glowing grid, and your street is in there somewhere, too small to see from here. You go higher, and the whole state comes into view, shaped by rivers or the coast. Then the entire country, that familiar shape. But from up here you don't see borders. You see the land itself, the long line of a mountain range, a huge river basin, a desert, the coastline curving. You see the weather, a storm system turning over a whole region, raining down on thousands of towns at once. At this height, any one person's problems just disappear. That traffic jam that ruined your morning is a still, quiet line in one city's grid. An argument in an office is a little pulse of energy in one building among millions. Your whole life, everything that's happened to you, fits inside a single, small point of light. The Stoics did this. They looked at nature's scale to humble themselves. Seneca talked about looking up at the stars and seeing how small the earth is, and on that earth, how tiny the piece of land we argue over. See the whole thing, he said, and you'll laugh at people who put up boundary stones for their estates. From this continental view, your own domain, whatever it is just one of those tiny patches. The anxiety you feel about guarding it, or the frustration over something going wrong inside it, starts to feel out of scale with its actual size in the world. Take a real worry, say a career setback, a promotion you didn't get, a project that fell apart. it can feel like your whole professional world is just that one closed door. Now, from this bigger view, look at your entire industry, not just your company, but the whole sector across the continent. All the other offices, the factories, studios, homes where people are working right now, creating things, succeeding, failing. Your event is one point in a huge, humming network. That doesn't make your effort meaningless, it frames it. It shows you a single outcome isn't the whole story of your worth or even your career. It's an event inside a system, and systems have lots of paths, lots of ways in and ways back. Think about the ground you're looking down on. What's happened on this continent? Great migrations, nations founded, times of amazing invention and times of deep hardship. Wars fought over this land, treaties signed, cities built from nothing and sometimes lost. Your current concern, whatever it is, will join that timeline. In 100 years, it will be a quiet part of the past, just like the intense worries of someone living here a century ago are quiet now. This isn't saying your feelings don't matter, it's seeing them inside the right container of time. From this height, you're not dismissing your struggle. You're giving it a true context, an honest one, and in that context you might find the room to breathe, to choose your next move not from panic, but from a place of sober, quiet clarity. I remember the pale blue dot photo. Voyager 1 took it from out past Neptune, looking back toward home, and there it is, just a speck of light, a tiny point in a sunbeam. It's not a map, it's not a picture of a globe, it's the actual Earth seen from the edge of everything we know. All of history happened there on that dot. Every victory, every loss, every empire, every word anyone ever said, all of it on that pale blue speck. It's the ultimate view from above. The Stoics talked about this. Being a citizen of the cosmos, Marcus Aurelius wrote about it. He said to look down at the earth, villages, farms, forests, all the drama of human life. From that height, it's just a little scuff on the surface, and the earth itself, he said, is just a point in the universe. To see it that way is to see your real place. You're not the center, you're a small, conscious part of something unimaginably vast. That perspective, it dissolves certain anxieties, worries about status, about who offended you, about having the right things. They have no weight from there. From that distance, you can't see a job title. You can't see what car someone drives. You see a planet, a fragile, living system, hanging in an immense, dark silence. The arguments that feel so urgent, the rivalries, they're invisible. What becomes visible is our shared home. The thin blue line of air that keeps us alive, the connected oceans, the one delicate biosphere we all depend on. Your personal struggle is real, but it's housed here on this shared, precious dot. Think of a global problem, a political conflict, an environmental crisis. From the ground, it's an impossible tangle, but from the pale blue dot, you see something else. You see one world with the problem contained inside it. You see that the people on all sides are neighbors on the same small rock. That doesn't solve it, but it frames it correctly. It reminds you that any real solution has to start with that truth. The truth of shared residence. Now bring it back to you. That burning embarrassment from a mistake at work, that envy over a friend's success, that feeling of not being enough. Hold those feelings, then place them gently on the pale blue dot. Watch them shrink to their true atomic size against the backdrop of space. They don't vanish. They just find their proper proportion. They become human-scale experiences, happening to one of billions of humans on a small world. That's the humility. And the peace that the Stoic cosmic view offers. It doesn't belittle your life, it dignifies it by connecting it to the whole. You are not the universe. But you are of the universe, a thinking part of it, looking back at itself. What does that thought stir in you? A quiet awe at the scale, a humility about your own concerns, or a deep, unexpected peace knowing you belong to something this magnificent. That feeling is the compass. It points you toward a truth. Your problems are real, but the stage they play on is so much grander than you usually see. And from that grand stage, you can choose your next act, not from scarcity or fear, but from a place of connection and clarity. You've got the view from above. Now let time move fast. Let the clock turn. Watch the landscape below not just shrink, but shift. Seasons blur, years flicker by, decades, a century passes, and the city's lights shift and spread like something alive. Another century, and the city's shape is entirely new. Keep watching. See forests advance and retreat with the ice ages. Watch rivers change their courses over millennia. The mountains themselves, so permanent from our human scale, are wearing down grain by grain in this sped-up view. Your entire lifespan from here is less than a blink, a brief, bright spark in an immense, slow-moving film. That's the second axis. Space gives you distance. Time gives you context. The Stoics were obsessed with this. Seneca wrote about it. In his essay on the brevity of life, he said life is long enough if you know how to use it. But we waste so much of it. He argued we are not given a short life, we make it short. We are not poor in time, we are wasteful of it. He watched people postponing their lives, waiting for some future moment to begin living, while the present slipped through their fingers. From the view of centuries, that waste becomes tragic and clear. Your 70 or 80 years against geological time is a single, precious sip from a vast ocean. The question isn't how much you have, it's how you use the sip. So apply this to a modern fear, the fear of failure, of public embarrassment, that presentation that fills you with dread. The project you're afraid to launch, now place that fear on the timeline. How many millions of people across how many centuries have stood where you stand? A Roman senator nervous before the Senate, a medieval craftsperson presenting their work to a guild, a scientist in the 1950s afraid their paper would be rejected. They felt the same knot in the stomach, the same racing heart. Their moment of anxiety was to them all-consuming, and where is it now? It's gone, dissolved into the past. Their triumph or their setback became a quiet part of history, if it was remembered at all. This isn't to say your effort doesn't matter. It's to say the fear surrounding it is a universal human experience. A temporary weather pattern in your mind, not the permanent definition of your life. Here's a simple prompt. Think of an ancestor from 200 years ago. Pick one, your great-great-great-grandparent. You likely don't know their name, but they lived a full human life. They had loves and losses. They had their own towering worries. A bad harvest, an illness in the family, a conflict with a neighbor. Those worries were their entire world. They mattered desperately in the moment. Do they matter today? Not in the same way. The specific anxiety has faded, leaving only the quiet fact of their existence, which led to yours. Your own most pressing worry today will, in 200 years, be the same. A silent footnote in the story of your line. Seen from this point in time, the emotional charge around our problems begins to leak away. What remains is the substance of our actions. The choices we make with our brief, bright spark. This temporal view doesn't breed hopelessness. It cultivates a profound focus. If your time is this brief and your concerns this transient, what truly deserves your energy? The opinion of a difficult colleague fades. The sting of a minor rejection softens. What endures are the things you build, the kindness you offer, the character you forge. Those are the legacies that ripple forward, even quietly, on the long timeline. So when a problem feels eternal, pull back along the axis of time. See it as an event, not an eternity. And in the vast, quiet expanse of years, find the freedom to choose your response not from fear of a moment, but from respect for your chapter in the long, long story. Let your mind drift into the cosmic ocean. You've seen the dot of Earth. Now let go of that anchor. Watch our sun become just another star, one among hundreds of billions in our galaxy. And our galaxy is just one swirl of light, one of 2 trillion others in the observable universe. The scale becomes incomprehensible. Stars are born in nurseries over millions of years. They burn for billions, they die in spectacular events. Those events seed the cosmos with elements for new worlds. Our entire recorded history is less than a heartbeat in the life of a single, average star. This is the Stoic view from above at its most profound. It moves from geography to cosmology. Marcus Aurelius touched this edge. He wrote, "The universe is change. Our life is an opinion." He was pointing to the same staggering truth. All that we see, the earth, the sky, it's all in a state of perpetual transformation. And our experience of it, our life, is largely the opinion we hold about events within this flow. To see the universe as change is to see your moment of crisis as a temporary arrangement of particles, soon to be rearranged again. Now contrast a personal grievance with this scale, that lingering resentment toward a colleague, that bitterness over a past unfairness. Feel its heat, its weight in your chest. Now place it beside the life cycle of a star. For a star to be born, a cloud of gas collapses for eons. It burns for 10 billion years. A steady furnace forging carbon and oxygen in its core. Then it sheds its outer layers in a final display. It leaves behind a cooling remnant. That entire epic process from dust to dust happens so that one day on one planet, a human might feel slighted in a meeting. The mismatch is almost absurd. It doesn't mean your feeling isn't valid. It reveals that the emotional mass you've assigned to the event is a choice. You have been holding a pebble as if it were a planet. So here is the reflective prompt. Does making your problem bigger or smaller in this cosmic context change its emotional weight? Think about it. When you zoom in, the problem expands to fill your vision. Its details are sharp. Its consequences feel immediate and total. But when you zoom all the way out to the galaxy, the problem doesn't just get smaller. It changes category. It moves from being a world-ending crisis to being a single, fleeting thought. A brief opinion held by a conscious speck on a speck. Adrift in a sea of suns, the weight you feel isn't in the event itself. It's in the opinion, the story you've wrapped around it, and a story can be rewritten from a new vantage point. This cosmic view offers liberation from pettiness. It's impossible to genuinely hold onto a grudge while contemplating the Andromeda galaxy heading toward our own. On a collision course that will take 4 billion years, your grievance simply has no shelf life in that warehouse of time and space. What endures, what feels aligned with the cosmos itself, is not our petty conflicts. It's our capacity for awe, for creation, for kindness. Those acts resonate with the scale of the universe because they are acts of building, not destroying. They add a note of harmony to the grand, changing symphony. So when you feel that familiar tightening, that sense of being trapped in a small, hard story, remember you have this exit. You can float past the ceiling, past the atmosphere, past the orbit of the moon, until you are looking back at a swirling galaxy of starlight, and somewhere in that pinprick of light is your life. Your problem, your heart. From there you can decide, will you let the pebble weigh you down, or will you open your hand and see it for what it is, against the backdrop of all that is and ever will be? The real power isn't escaping, it's coming back. You can float out there, see the stars. It's a beautiful view, but we don't live out there, we live here. On the ground, with the email still sitting there, the hard conversation that's still waiting, the project that still needs an answer. The whole point of going up is to come back down wiser. You have to bring that calm back with you, down through everything into the room you're in, into the very next thing you choose to do. That's where philosophy turns into practice. Where an idea becomes something you can use. Musonius Rufus, the Stoic teacher, he was very direct about this. He said a theory without action is like a fine portrait. It might be beautiful to look at, but it's useless. The view from above is that portrait. Your next action is the brushstroke that makes it real, so you start the journey back. You're looking at the galaxy, then you gently bring your focus to the pale blue dot. See it as home, a shared, fragile place. Let that feeling of connection soften any hardness you're holding. Come in closer, see the continent, the country. Remember, your story is just one of countless stories happening right now. That's not depressing, it's connecting. It makes your burden feel human, not monstrous. Bring the view to your city, then your street. See your building, finally. See the room you're in. You've traveled the universe and returned to this chair. But you're not the same person who left. You carry the quiet of the cosmos with you. The problem on your desk hasn't vanished, but your relationship to it has shifted. It's no longer a world-eating dragon. It's a situation, a set of circumstances to be addressed with the clear-eyed calm of someone who has seen its true size. Take a work conflict. Before the exercise, it felt personal, like an attack on your competence. After the return, you see it differently. From the cosmic view, you recognize the other person is also a conscious speck on that pale blue dot, carrying their own invisible burdens. From the century view, you see this disagreement as a fleeting moment in your long career. That doesn't mean you become a pushover. It means you approach the solution rationally, not reactively. Your goal shifts from winning an argument to solving a shared problem. A problem that, in the grand scheme, is quite small. You might ask a clarifying question instead of launching a counter-accusation. You might propose a practical next step instead of ruminating on the insult. The energy you spent on anger is now available for resolution. So here's an integration prompt. After you do a mental run-through of the view from above, take 1 minute. With that expanded perspective still fresh, look at your specific problem. Then write down one single actionable step you can take from this new mindset. Just one. It has to be concrete, doable today. Not stop worrying about the presentation, but spend 20 minutes outlining the first 3 slides. Not fix the relationship, but send a brief, neutral text to schedule a time to talk. That step is the anchor. It ties the vastness of space to the reality of your kitchen table. It proves the perspective isn't just a pretty thought. It's a tool for living, and with that one step, you complete the cycle. You haven't just seen your problem from above. You've begun to solve it from a place of profound, unshakable calm. This isn't about saying your problems don't matter. That's a key point. The view from above isn't minimizing how you feel. It's more about right-sizing the thought. You're not trying to convince yourself to feel nothing. You're trying to see the thing for what it is, without the extra layers. The story your mind adds, a broken leg is painful. It's a serious injury. It needs care, time to heal, but it's not the end of the world. Calling it painful is a fact. Calling it the end of the world is an opinion, a judgment, and that judgment magnifies the suffering, goes beyond the physical reality, and that's where a lot of the anguish is. Not in the facts, but in the opinions we stick to them. Epictetus saw this centuries ago. He said people aren't disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. He used the example, the death of a child. The event itself isn't what causes the disturbance. It's the opinion about it, the belief that this is unbearable. A world-shattering loss. He's not saying don't grieve. He's pointing to the source of the deepest suffering. It's our judgment that something is catastrophic. That creates the catastrophic feeling. The Stoic work is to examine that judgment, to ask, is this truly the end of everything, or is it a devastating part of life? A natural part. The goal is to feel the genuine pain without being consumed by the added story. The story of total ruin. That's the heart of right-sizing. Take a common worry now, a big presentation. The perceived threat feels huge. Your mind races. What if I forget my lines? What if they think I'm incompetent? What if this ruins my reputation? The emotional impact feels like a 9 or a 10. Your body reacts like there's a predator in the room, but let's right-size it. What are the actual probable consequences? You might stumble over a word. Someone might ask a tough question. At the very worst, the presentation might not land perfectly. Would that be pleasant? No. Would it end your career? Almost certainly not. The actual impact for most people is closer to a 2 or a 3. We suffer a 9 for an event that merits a 2. That gap, that 7-point gap, that's the space created by our opinions, our stories of doom. So here's a prompt. Think of one current worry: money, a relationship, a work deadline. First, rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 for its actual, practical impact on your life in the next month. Be honest. If the project is late, what really happens? If the conversation is awkward, what's the true fallout? Now rate the same worry for its emotional impact. How heavy it feels right now. How much it dominates your thoughts. Look at the two numbers. Are they the same? For most of us, they're not. The emotional number is almost always higher. That gap is your invitation. It's the signal that your mind has painted the problem larger than life. The view from above is the tool that closes that gap. It doesn't delete the lower number, the genuine concern. It dissolves the extra, imagined weight. The weight you've been carrying, you're left holding the real problem, and that is always easier to carry than the phantom one. And from that place, that clear-eyed proportion, your energy is freed. Not to pretend nothing is wrong, but to address what actually is. Anxiety lives in closed spaces, dark ones. The view from above opens them up. It floods them with light. Worry is a kind of zooming in. Your mind picks one thing, a bank statement, a test result, one line in an email, and it focuses on that until nothing else exists. That one point becomes the whole world. This practice is the opposite. It's the act of zooming out. You take that sharp point, that painful detail, and you pull back. You see the landscape it sits in, and suddenly it's not the whole picture. It's just one point on a much larger map. Seneca saw this. He said we suffer more in imagination than in reality. We're tormented not by what is, but by what we imagine could be. The mind builds a future full of disasters that haven't happened, that may never happen. And we feel the weight of that fictional world. We feel it as if it were real. The view from above punctures that world. It lets the air out. Take a common fear. Financial fear, the worry you won't have enough, that a bill will ruin you. The mind zooms in. It sees the number in your account. It sees the due date. The walls feel close. Now apply the exercise. First, zoom out to the street. See your home among others. In each one, people are managing finances, managing fears. Zoom out to the city. See the flow, trucks making deliveries, stores opening, people earning and spending. This isn't just your struggle, it's a shared activity. A human one. Zoom out to the continent. See the network, the economy, millions of transactions every second, investments growing, businesses starting. Markets adjusting. Your personal moment is one current, a tiny current in a vast river. You're subject to its flow, but you're also connected to its potential. Zoom out further. From the cosmic view, money is a human invention. It's a story we agree on, to exchange things on this pale blue dot. Its power is real in our lives. But it's not a law of the universe. It's not gravity. It's a tool. Seeing it from this distance helps you hold it lightly. It helps you see your situation not as a prison, but as a set of conditions, temporary conditions, inside a system that is always changing. This doesn't pay your bills, but it drains the terror from them. It turns a crisis of survival into a logistical challenge, and a challenge with a calm mind is manageable. A catastrophe is not. So, identify one of your worries. The what if that plays on a loop. What if I get sick? What if I fail? What if they leave? Don't argue with it, just hold the thought, then begin the ascent. Take that worry up through the layers, past your roof, past the clouds. See it on the map of your country, then see your country on the globe, then see that globe. The pale blue dot hanging in the void. Look at your worry from there. Does its urgent quality soften? Does it still feel like an emergency, one that demands all of your being? Or does it begin to look like what it often is, a possibility, one of countless possibilities, unfolding on a small, fragile world? The space you create around the thought, that's where your power returns. It's the difference between being the thought and having the thought. And from that quiet vantage point, you can finally ask the useful question, not what if this horrible thing happens, but what can I actually do about it right now, from right here? Anger narrows everything down. It makes you believe that whatever just happened is the most important thing in the world. In that moment, the other person's action feels huge, intentional, directed right at you. Your whole world shrinks to that one point of conflict. The view from above works against that. It pulls the lens back. It shows you the actual scale of the problem, set against a life, a city, against centuries. Marcus Aurelius had a way of framing this. He'd remind himself that when people act badly, when they wrong us, it comes from ignorance. They're mistaken about what's good. He wrote that it's necessary to bear with them because they can't see the nature of the good. This isn't excusing the behavior, it's diagnosing it correctly. From that wider view, someone who cuts you off or speaks harshly isn't a villain in your story. They're a confused person, acting from their own narrow view, their own unseen struggles on a small planet in a vast cosmos. What they do reflects their inner state, not your worth. The exercise uses two axes, space and time. Start with space. Take that flash of road rage. Someone swerves dangerously close. Your heart pounds, your grip tightens on the wheel. Now initiate the ascent. See your car from above on the highway. See that highway as one thread in a whole transportation web covering the state. See the thousands of other cars, each with a person inside, each with a destination, a worry. The driver who offended you becomes a single pixel in a moving image. Their action, while dangerous, is a momentary blip in a vast, flowing system. They'll be at their exit in 2 miles. You'll be at yours in 10, your paths crossed for less than a second. To spend an hour or even 10 minutes in fury over that 1 second intersection is to give it a power it doesn't deserve. Then apply the axis of time. Think of a deeper resentment, a betrayal by a friend, a harsh criticism. The hurt feels permanent, like a stain on your history. Now pull back along the timeline. See your life from a century in the future. Both you and the person who hurt you will be gone, your entire lived experience complete. From that distant point, look back at this event. Will the specific details of the grievance matter? Will the sharp words still hold their sting? Or will they appear as what they often are, a clash of two limited perspectives, two sets of fears in a specific moment that life, in its forward motion, left far behind? What endures from that future view isn't the conflict, it's the character you built in response to it. So here's a prompt. Think of someone you're quietly upset with right now. A recent slight, an old wound. Hold that feeling for a moment, then place that person and your grievance on the timeline. A century from now, will this matter? Not in theory, but in the raw, emotional sense that weighs on you now. The answer isn't to pretend it doesn't hurt now. It's to see the hurt inside its true container, the brief, precious span of a single human life. This perspective doesn't force forgiveness. It often makes resentment seem inefficient, a poor use of your limited light and time. When you see the smallness of the cause and the brevity of the stage, the anger often just dissipates. It loses its fuel, and what remains isn't necessarily warmth. It's a clear, calm space, a space from which you can choose your next move, free from the poison of the past. Grief is a deep human emotion, and this exercise doesn't erase it. It holds it inside something larger. The view from above, when you bring it to loss, offers a kind of solace. Not by telling you not to feel the sadness, but by putting that feeling inside the natural rhythm of all things. The Stoics talked about accepting nature's laws. They saw life and passing not as a personal tragedy, but as part of the eternal process of change, the change that governs everything, From the highest vantage point, every birth is a coming together of elements. And every ending is a gentle returning, a returning of those elements to the flow. Your personal loss is a single note, a heartfelt note in a symphony that's been playing since the stars began to form. Marcus Aurelius reflected on this. He wrote, "Consider the life you have lived as now complete, and take your leave of it, make way for others." He used the image of a leaf falling from a tree. It was once part of the living branch, nourished by the same sap, sharing in the same life as every other leaf. When its time comes, it detaches and falls to the earth. It's not a tragedy for the leaf, nor for the tree. It's simply the nature of the tree. The leaf returns to the soil. It becomes part of what will nourish the roots. For future growth, your grief is the tree's momentary rustle of branches in the wind, a natural response to the change in its form, but the tree itself, the great cycle, continues. So applying this perspective, in a moment of deep sorrow, you can begin the ascent. You feel the weight in your chest, the empty space in the room, and instead of staying trapped within that feeling, you gently lift your gaze. You see your home from above, holding this story of love and loss. You see your neighborhood, where in every other home at some point, a similar story has unfolded. Or will unfold. You see your city, your country, the continent. For thousands of years on this very land, people have loved deeply and experienced the pain of separation. They've built monuments to memory, written songs of longing, found ways to carry on. You are not alone in this feeling. You are participating in the most universal, shared human experience there is. This contemplation brings a quiet solidarity. It doesn't diminish your unique love. It honors it by recognizing its place in the grand human story. The love you feel, the beauty you saw in that person or that chapter, that is the real and enduring thing. The view from above helps you see that this love isn't gone. It's a permanent thread in the tapestry. It changed you, it shaped the story, and that change, that shaping, ripples forward. In everything you do, in the kindness you now offer others, in the memories you cherish, here's a reflective prompt if you feel ready. Consider what specific beauty or love the lost person or thing represented to you. Was it a sense of safety, a shared laughter, a guiding wisdom? Now see that quality not as something that has vanished, but as a color that was woven into the fabric of life itself. It still exists. It exists in the love others showed you because of them. It exists in the compassion you now understand more deeply. It exists in the quiet moments when you remember and feel a connection that transcends time and space. From the cosmic view, love is a form of energy, and energy is never destroyed. It only changes form. Your grief is the acknowledgement of that change, and within the vast, compassionate silence of the universe, there is room for both the sorrow of the change and the peace of knowing nothing beautiful is ever truly lost. From the orbit of Mars, you can't see a promotion. You can't see a failed project. The corner office isn't visible from there. The applause is silent. The stock price is just a number on a screen, on a dot. Our drive to achieve is a powerful engine, but it can cause immense suffering. When we tie our entire worth to an outcome, to a result we can't fully control, the Stoics had an answer for that stress. They changed the goal, not worldly success, but virtuous action. Your effort is up to you, your integrity, your dedication, those are yours. The raise isn't, the public recognition isn't, the market's reaction isn't. Epictetus drew that line. He said in life, our job is to play our assigned role well, and the script, that's our own reasoned choice. Some roles are short. Some are long. You don't get to decide which one you get. You just have to act your part well. That's the core of a healthy detachment. You pour everything into the work because that's your domain. And you release the result because that belongs to the world, to the cosmos. The view from above makes that release logical. From the scale of a continent, your whole industry is just one sector. From the pale blue dot, it's a thin layer of human activity. The chase for status against the silence of space starts to look like a small game, an intricate game. Maybe a meaningful one, but a game. Its stakes are human-made, they aren't cosmic laws, so take a real sting, a job rejection for a position you really wanted. In the moment, it feels personal, like a verdict on your talent, a door slamming shut. Now start the ascent. See your resume as one of thousands, floating in a digital system. See the company as one node, in a global network of organizations, all in constant flux. See your entire career not as this one closed door, but as a long path. A winding path across decades. This event is a bend in the road. It's not the end. From the height of the global economy, you see millions of jobs created and dissolved every year. Roles evolve, new fields emerge. Your value isn't set by one hiring manager's decision on one afternoon. It's set by the consistent quality of your character and your effort over a lifetime. This perspective doesn't numb the disappointment. It stops the disappointment from becoming a story of permanent failure. It right-sizes the event, so here's a prompt: pause for a moment. Define what success really means from the perspective of your whole life, not just this month. Not just this year. Is it a title on a door, a number in an account, or is it the quiet knowledge that you acted with courage and fairness and diligence? In whatever you did, that you learned, that you contributed, that you left things a little better than you found them. From the orbit of Mars, only one of those definitions has any lasting shape. The other fades into the background noise of a busy world. Choosing to measure yourself by the former, that's how you build a calm that no market crash can shake. It's natural to think, this is different, my situation is urgent, the deadline is tomorrow, the pain is physical, the fear is right here. This isn't some abstract worry, it's real. That feeling is valid, but there's a subtle truth here. The more real and urgent a problem feels, the more you need cognitive clarity, not less. Panic narrows your vision. It forces you to stare at the flames. It keeps you from looking for the exit. The view from above doesn't deny the fire exists. It helps you find the door. It builds the mental space you need to act effectively, precisely when everything in you is screaming to react. This is where the Stoic reserve clause becomes essential. It's a two-part approach. You act with all your effort, you do your absolute best, and at the same time you hold in your mind an acceptance that the ultimate outcome isn't yours alone to command. It belongs to the larger order of things. You focus on your action, and you release your attachment to the specific result. This isn't passive, it's the most active form of engagement. You bring your full self to the task, free from the paralyzing weight of demanding a particular ending. Consider a health scare. A test result comes back with a concerning note. The immediate reaction is a tidal wave of fear. Your mind races to the worst possible conclusion. Every sensation in your body becomes a confirmation of disaster. That panic is real, but it clouds judgment. It makes it harder to listen to a doctor, harder to process information, harder to make clear decisions about next steps. Now apply the view. From the height of your lifetime, this moment, however scary, is one chapter. From the perspective of medical science, it's a data point to be investigated. Among millions investigated every day, from the cosmic view, it's part of the natural, fragile reality of having a human body. This doesn't make the concern disappear. It allows you to hold it differently, to seek calm, effective care from a place of focused attention, not from a place of drowning terror. Your problem is real. The exercise makes you more real, more present, and more capable in facing it. So here's a challenging question. Is your resistance to this perspective itself a form of attachment? An attachment to the story that your problem is uniquely monstrous, uniquely unbearable. That story, however understandable, gives the problem more power. It makes it heavier. By insisting on its overwhelming size, you might be the one keeping it large. What if, just for a moment, you allowed it to be exactly what it is? A difficult situation set against the backdrop of your whole life and the whole turning world, not to diminish it, but to see it clearly, and from that clear seeing to find your next most purposeful step. For a strong combination, you can use this exercise with the Stoic evening review. The view from above gives you the wide angle. The evening review gives you the close focus. Together, they make a full system for clarity. It's like using a telescope to see the whole universe, then a microscope to look at the single cell of your own day. The point isn't to criticize yourself, it's to calibrate. You spent the day down in the details, in the middle of everything. Now you get to rise up and look at the map. To see where you actually went, which paths used your energy well, which detours came from your own mistakes. Seneca was known for this nightly habit. He wrote about examining his whole day, going back over what he did and said. He wouldn't hide anything from himself. He wouldn't skip anything. He would ask, what bad habit did you fix today? What fault did you resist? How are you better? His goal was progress, not perfection. He used the evening's quiet to separate his thoughtful actions from his reactive impulses. And this is where the view from above becomes a practical tool for that. After a hard day, sit quietly. Before you go into the details, first take a moment to rise up. See your day from the Continental scale. See your office, your home, your errands as small dots on a huge landscape. From there, ask a simple question. Which of my reactions today actually fit the event, and which of my worries were made bigger by my own stories? You might remember feeling frustrated in a long meeting. On the ground, it felt like a huge waste of time, like a sign of incompetence around you. But from the higher view, it was one meeting in one building. In one city, on a planet where billions of other meetings happen today. The frustration is real, but its catastrophic feeling starts to fade. Now, with that right-sized perspective, you can do the review. Take that specific interaction, look at the facts. Someone interrupted you, a decision got delayed, then look at your internal reaction. Did you feel disrespected? Did you start telling yourself a story about your ideas being undervalued? Finally, look at what you did. Did you respond with patience or with sharpness? Did you help find a solution or add to the problem? The view from above helps you see the event's true size. The review helps you judge your own behavior within that size. You're not asking, was I a bad person? You're asking, did my response match the reality of what happened? Often, you'll find the answer is no. Our emotions tend to be too big. And seeing that mismatch is the first step toward lining them up. So tonight, try this pair. Before you sleep, pick one event from your day. It could be a moment of pride or anxiety or conflict. First, take it up through the layers. See it from the street, the city, the continent, the pale blue dot. Let the cosmic view soften its hard edges. Then, from that place of quiet proportion, ask yourself Seneca's questions. What did I do well in that moment? What could I have done better? What did I learn about what sets me off? This isn't about dwelling on the past. It's about getting ready for a wiser tomorrow. By reviewing the map of your day from above, you learn to walk through the next one with more grace and a lot less unnecessary weight. The cosmic view is a reset. But you don't have 20 minutes to float past Neptune. When the walls feel close, you need a shortcut. There's a modern tool for that, the 10-10-10 rule. And if you filter it through a Stoic lens, it becomes a way to regain perspective. The question is simple. How will I feel about this in 10 days, in 10 months? In 10 years, this isn't about prediction. It's about temporal scaling. It forces your mind to travel a long time, to see your current reaction inside its true container. The Stoic twist is to add a second question. Not just how will I feel, but what impact will this have on my character? In 10 days, will this have made me more or less just? More or less courageous, more or less temperate? That shifts the focus from a fleeting feeling to the long-term project of building virtue. Your character is the only thing you truly own across all those time frames. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the duration of his life was a moment, his substance was in flux, his soul a whirl. All he could do was live out his brief span according to nature. The 10-10-10 rule helps you do that. It clarifies what according to nature means for this specific, heated moment. Take a common irritant, a harsh comment on a social media post. The immediate reaction is visceral. Your face flushes, your fingers itch to type a furious reply. The feeling is a 10. It feels like a public attack that demands a public defense. Now apply the rule. 10 days from now, will this comment matter? Will you even remember the specific words, or will it have been washed away in the flow of your week? For most of us, it fades to near irrelevance. The emotional charge is gone. 10 months from now, will it have altered the course of your life? Will your relationships, your health, your core happiness be different because of this digital interaction? Almost certainly not. It's a forgotten speck in the rearview mirror. 10 years from now, will it have any significance at all? It will be a non-event lost in the vast archive of your past. Seeing this timeline shrinks the problem instantly, but the Stoic edition is the real work. Ask yourself, what virtue can I practice here, regardless of the outcome in 10 years? The opportunity isn't to win an argument. It's to exercise self-control, to choose not to be pulled into a petty conflict, to act with magnanimity by simply disengaging. That choice to walk away from a provocation strengthens your character in a way that winning the online spat never could. In 10 years, you won't remember the comment. But you will have reinforced a pattern of choosing peace over pettiness. That pattern defines you, so here's a prompt. Right now, identify a minor irritation from today. A driver who honked unnecessarily, a curt email from a coworker, a plan that fell through. Hold that feeling for just a second, then apply the 10-10-10 rule with the Stoic question. 10 days from now, what will remain of this? 10 months from now, what will its impact be? 10 years from now, will it be a memory at all? And through all those time frames, what single virtuous action can I take right now that will be a deposit into my character, not a withdrawal? Maybe it's the virtue of patience, taking a breath instead of reacting, or the virtue of empathy, considering the unseen stress the other person might be under. That shift from being a victim of an event to being the author of your response is the entire point. It turns daily annoyances into a quiet gym for your soul. The view from above does more than bring peace. It gives you a map for how to live. It shrinks your anxieties, yes, but it also rewires your sense of responsibility. When you look at the world from that height, you're no longer just an isolated individual. You're not fighting for your own piece of the pie anymore. You start to see yourself as part of something, a conscious cell in a vast, living organism. The Stoics had a word for this, oikeiosis. It's recognizing your fundamental connection to others. Seeing that we're all made of the same stuff, sharing the same brief moment of light on the same small planet. From the edge of space, there are no strangers. Only fellow travelers, crew members on a fragile ship sailing through the dark. And that image changes everything. Your duty isn't just to yourself. It's to the ship, to the other crew. Marcus Aurelius wrote about this. He said, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings none to the bee." He kept reminding himself. His purpose was to do what was necessary for the common good, not as a noble sacrifice, but as the only rational way to live once you understood your place in the whole. Your well-being is tied to the hive's well-being. This turns abstract ethics into something practical, visceral. Take environmental care. It's easy to feel detached from a global issue. But from that view, you don't see borders. You see one biosphere, one thin, glowing layer of life on a rock. The air you breathe is the same air that circles the globe. The water in your glass has been in oceans on the other side of the world. So your choice to reduce waste, to conserve energy, it stops being a chore. It becomes crew maintenance, a direct act to preserve our shared ship. The same logic applies to kindness, that irritable cashier, the distracted driver. The neighbor you don't know, from the cosmic view, they're not obstacles in your story. They're other conscious specks carrying their own burdens on the same difficult journey. This doesn't mean you tolerate poor behavior. It means you respond from understanding, not automatic hostility. You might offer patience, a genuine smile. You act not as a solitary individual, but as a member of a small, temporary human city, doing your part to make it more livable. So here's a prompt for the week. With that image of the pale blue dot in mind, consider your own human city, your neighborhood, your workplace, your online communities. What's one small, concrete action you could take? Something that benefits the common good of that little city. It doesn't need to be grand. It could be picking up a piece of litter on your walk, not because it's yours, but because it's shared space. It could be sending a supportive message to a stressed colleague. It could be just listening to someone fully without rushing to give advice. Choose one act. And when you do it, hold that wider view. See yourself not just as one person being nice, but as a citizen of the cosmos, performing a necessary function for the hive. That shift in identity from isolated me to connected us, that's the deepest gift of this exercise. It turns perspective into purpose. This is a tool for wisdom. It's not a blanket for denial. That distinction matters. The Stoic aim wasn't to become numb, to float above being human. It was to feel the experience fully, but with a mind clear enough to respond with virtue. Not just react with passion. The view from above should lead you back into the arena of your life, not give you a permanent escape hatch. There's a term for using spiritual ideas to bypass genuine pain or responsibility. It's called spiritual bypassing, and this exercise, if you misunderstand it, can become a very sophisticated form of that. You might tell yourself you're being philosophical, when you're actually just avoiding a hard truth you need to face. The Stoics were fiercely engaged. Marcus Aurelius didn't contemplate the cosmos so he could ignore his duties. He did it so he could perform them without being poisoned by resentment or fear. The ideal was the active citizen, the person who participates, who fixes what they can, who bears what they must. All from a place of reasoned calm. So how do you know if you're using this practice wisely or using it to hide? The test is in the direction of your energy. Does the perspective you gain funnel back into purposeful action, or does it just dissipate into passive acceptance of things you could actually change? Take two scenarios. First, a good use. You have a difficult conversation with a family member looming. You feel a knot of anxiety, a defensive anger rising. You take 5 minutes for the view from above. You see the conflict in the scale of your lifelong relationship against the backdrop of your shared history. The heat leaves the emotion. You feel calmer, clearer. Now you can enter that talk not to win, but to understand, to find a resolution. The perspective empowered the action. Now the bypass. There's a lingering issue in a close relationship, a pattern of behavior that causes you hurt. Instead of addressing it, you repeatedly use the cosmic view. You tell yourself it's all small in the grand scheme, that you should just accept it, that getting upset is a sign of weakness. The problem festers, resentment builds quietly. Here, the perspective has been used to justify inaction, to avoid the vulnerable, messy work of communication, of boundary setting. The Stoic virtue at play here is courage. The courage to engage with the difficult, real-world stuff of life, not the false courage of pretending it doesn't matter. So here's a reflective prompt. A vital check-in for your own practice. Look at a current challenge. After you gain that wider perspective, ask yourself this single question. Am I using this view to empower my next right action, or to justify staying safely on the sidelines? Your honest answer will tell you everything. It will show whether you are building the resilience of a warrior or the detachment of a ghost, and your life, your relationships, your impact on this pale blue dot will reflect the choice you make. You don't train for a marathon just once. This is more like mental conditioning. The goal isn't some huge trip to the edge of the galaxy. It's the daily work, building the neural pathway, so when you need it, the view is just there. Instantly, it's consistency over intensity. A 1-minute check done every day reshapes your mind more than a single 30-minute session once a month. You're carving a new groove, a default path for your thoughts when the pressure comes. Epictetus, the Stoic teacher, he was firm on this. He compared philosophy to a craft. You don't become a carpenter by reading about hammers. You become one by hitting nails day after day. He said, if you didn't learn this to practice it, what did you learn it for? The training is in the small moments, the brief irritation, the flash of worry. That's your gym, so make the practice tiny. Attach it to something you already do. Link it to a daily cue, when you first look out the window in the morning, or when you're waiting for coffee to brew, or sitting in traffic, standing in line. Use that dead space for just 60 seconds. Initiate the ascent. Don't try to go all the way to the cosmos. Just go one level up, from the room to the building. From your car to the whole flow of the highway. That's it. The act itself, repeated, builds the muscle. It teaches your brain there's always an alternative to being submerged in the feeling. There's always a higher floor you can go to for a clearer view. So here's a simple challenge. For the next 3 days, commit to a 1-minute practice. Just once a day, pick your cue, maybe the first time you sit at your desk, or when you wash your hands before lunch. When that moment arrives, pause, take one breath. And for the next 60 seconds, do the first step. Zoom out one level. See your immediate surroundings from just a little higher up. Observe the problem or the mood from that slight distance. Then let it go and continue your day. That's the entire practice. The cumulative effect of those 3 brief minutes will be more powerful than you expect. It plants the seed. It proves you can change your relationship to your experience, not by force, but by a simple, gentle shift in vantage point. Sometimes the easiest way to see from above is just to look up. Out a window, or better, go outside. Watch the clouds moving, or just the blue of the sky. That feeling of freedom, there's a reason for it. You're physically connecting to the scale you're supposed to imagine. You're not just thinking about vastness, you're sensing it. The sky is the original view from above, and it's always there. The Stoics, they didn't just talk about nature in theory. They studied it like a text. The movement of the stars, the seasons changing, the sun rising, they saw that as a lesson. To live according to nature meant aligning yourself with that rational, beautiful order. Marcus Aurelius would tell himself to rise with the sun, to do his work, seeing his small duties as part of that grand, daily rotation. When a problem feels heavy, that horizon is a counterweight. A distant mountain range, the ocean stretching out, the stars at night, it's not just scenery. It's a sensory correction. It pulls your mind out of its worried loop and into a reality that's larger than life. Your urgent email is still real, but now it's framed by a sky that's seen civilizations come and go. That shift happens almost on its own. The vista does the work. So for a practical reset, you can try this anytime. A sky-gazing break. In the middle of a stressful day, when your screen feels like the whole world, get up. Go to a window or step outside for 90 seconds. Don't check your phone. Don't think about solutions. Just look up. Follow the shape of a cloud. Notice how the color changes from the horizon to directly overhead. Feel the space. That small act reboots your perspective. It drains the artificial urgency from the drama on your desk and replaces it with the calm, ancient rhythm of the atmosphere. For something deeper, there's a reflective prompt. Tonight, if you can, go outside, find some sky away from bright lights, look at the stars for 2 full minutes. Let your eyes adjust. Don't try to name constellations. Just take in the fact of that immense star-filled depth. As you stand there, notice any shift inside. Does the problem you carried feel lighter? Does its emotional charge seem quieter, less personal? That quieting is the point. It's your nervous system recognizing its true home, not in the small dramas we invent, but within the magnificent, silent theater of the cosmos. You are literally standing under the view from above, and from that place any problem can be met with a steadier hand. The online world takes molehills and makes them feel like mountains. And Stoicism can help redesign that landscape. All of it, every notification, every post, every comment thread exists in this digital layer we built over the real world. It's built for instant reaction, for constant comparison, and it puts your inner peace under a kind of low-grade siege. The view from above is maybe the most useful tool you can bring into that space. Because it reminds you of something simple. The digital world is not the world. It's a small, loud simulation of it. So when you feel that familiar tug, the envy from a perfect vacation photo, the anger from a political take, the anxiety from a comment you left hanging, that's your signal. Time to initiate the ascent. Start by visualizing the data itself. That post isn't an event, it's an arrangement of ones and zeros, a fleeting signal moving through fiber optic cables and cell towers. See it as one tiny pulse of light in a global network carrying quintillions of pulses every second. Your emotional reaction is to that one pulse, isolated and magnified on the small screen in your hand. Now pull back further, see your device from above, then your home with its real objects and real silence. See your neighborhood where actual lives are being lived, mostly offline. See the city, the continent. From this height, the entire internet is just a thin, buzzing mesh over the physical planet. That provocative post or enviable photo is a single, microscopic point on that mesh. It has a physical location in server farms, a lifespan measured maybe in days before the endless scroll buries it. Seneca's wisdom on public opinion fits perfectly here. He warned about the fickleness of the crowd, how it shouts one thing today and the opposite tomorrow. He wrote, "The many call you happy, but is that true? And if it is not, what good is their praise?" Online, the crowd gets quantified in likes, shares, follower counts. Its praise feels tangible, but Seneca's question stays vital. Is the validation of that digital crowd a true measure of your worth, of your happiness, or is it just another form of noise? The view from above helps you hear your own voice again, above that noise. So take a practical walkthrough. You open an app and see a friend's photos from an incredible trip. A pang of comparison hits. Your own life feels dull in contrast. Now shift to the planetary perspective. From the height of the stratosphere, you see not the photo, but the planet. You see millions of flights happening right now. Millions of cameras clicking, billions of images stored in clouds. This one photo is a single drop in that ocean of shared human experience. It represents a moment of joy for your friend, which is beautiful. But it is not a verdict on the quality of your own story. Your story is unfolding in a different place with its own unseen depth. The envy can soften then into a recognition of shared human desire for beauty. And then it often just fades away. Here's a reflective prompt to integrate this before you post a reactive comment, or even before you craft a post seeking validation. Take a mental view from above. Pause for 30 seconds. See the action you're about to take from the scale of your whole life, your whole character. Ask yourself, does this align with my best self? Does it add to the common good of our shared digital city, or does it just add to the noise? Will this matter in 10 days? That tiny moment of space created by perspective is where your freedom lies. It's the difference between being a passive, algorithmically triggered reactor and an active, thoughtful citizen of both worlds, the digital and the real. It's not about telling yourself you're great. It's about honestly looking at what's there, A lot of positive thinking tells you to change the story in your head, to put a better label on a hard situation. The view from above does something different. It doesn't change the label, it changes the frame around the whole picture. You're not trying to say a traffic jam is fun, or that a loss is a blessing. You're putting that traffic jam or that loss inside a context so big that your urgent need to fight it, or fix it, or make it pretty just relaxes. This is realism, it's not forced optimism. Marcus Aurelius put this right at the center of his thinking. He wrote, "Accept everything that happens, even if it seems bad, because it leads to the health of the universe." He didn't say pretend it's good. He said accept it as a thread in a larger fabric. The goal is to see the thing clearly, as a natural event in the world's order, not as some personal insult to what you want. Positive affirmations can feel like a fight with reality. You're arguing with the facts, trying to cover them with a nicer story. "I am not stressed," you might say, while your heart is racing. That creates a quiet conflict, a friction between what you feel and what you're telling yourself to feel. The Stoic exercise skips that fight completely. It doesn't get into whether something is good or bad. It just zooms out until the event's emotional charge fades on its own, not because you relabeled it, but because you saw its true, small size. Take being stuck in traffic. The positive thinking approach might be repeating, "This is a great chance to listen to my podcast. I choose to be calm." There's value in that. But underneath, there's still a layer of resistance. You are making yourself find the silver lining. The view from above works differently. You feel the frustration. Then you start the ascent. You see your car as one in a river of metal on a concrete artery. You see that artery as one vein in the circulatory system of a huge, living city. From that height, the traffic jam isn't a personal punishment. It's the city's pulse, a temporary clot in a vast organism. You don't have to tell yourself it's fun. You just see it for what it is, a natural, predictable thing in a system of millions of people moving. The acceptance that comes after isn't forced, it's logical. It comes from understanding. So think of a situation you usually try to positive think your way through. Maybe a tedious chore, a meeting that feels pointless, or anxiety before going out. You might pep talk yourself, "This will be fine, it'll be over soon, just get through it." Notice the energy underneath that. It's often about endurance, about pushing through something you see as negative. Now try applying the view from above instead. See that chore not as an isolated nuisance, but as one tiny, necessary task in the ongoing story of your home. See that meeting as one brief gathering in the decades-long life of an organization. See your pre-event anxiety as a common human ripple on the surface of a much deeper, calmer lake of your overall life. Which approach feels more honest, and in the long run, which is more empowering? The first asks you to argue with your experience. The second gives you a peaceful clarity about its actual scale. It frees your energy, not for internal debate, but for engaged, graceful action inside the reality you've clearly seen. All these steps, they lead to one place. To the unshakable peace the Stoics called Apathya. That's the destination of the view from above. But that word, Apathya, it gets misunderstood. It's not apathy. It's not some cold, emotionless state. It's something else. It's freedom. Freedom from those destructive passions that just toss your mind around like a ship in a bad storm. It's that quiet, stable calm. It comes when you're not at war with reality anymore, when you're in a kind of clear-eyed harmony with it, and you don't get there by suppressing feelings. You get there by healing the judgments that cause them. Epictetus, he called the philosopher's school a hospital for the soul. You don't arrive with a broken leg, he said. You arrive with a broken judgment, and the treatment is learning to see correctly. The view from above is that treatment. It's the medicine of perspective. You apply it directly to the judgment that something is catastrophically good or unbearably bad. So you see the email from the demanding client, but you see it from the height of your entire career. And the judgment that this is a disaster, it softens. Or you see a personal conflict from the scale of a shared human lifetime, and the judgment that this person is an enemy, it weakens. The passion, the panic, the rage, it loses its fuel. What's left is the situation itself and your own capacity to meet it with virtue. That's Apathya in action. It doesn't feel like emptiness, it feels like a deep, spacious clarity. You're present, you feel the genuine weight of things, but you're not crushed by the imaginary weight you used to add. After you practice this, the problem might still be there on your desk, but you are different. You're no longer tangled in the storm of your own reaction. You're the steady captain, just observing the weather, charting a course through it. There's a profound relief in that. It's the relief of putting down a burden. A burden you finally realize you were never meant to carry. The burden of demanding that life conform to your every wish and fear. So here's a final, reflective prompt. In one word, what's the quality of mind you're really seeking through all this? Is it calm? Is it freedom, resilience, or is it just peace? Hold that word. Let it be the compass for your practice, the quiet harbor you're always sailing toward. No matter how high the waves seem, you don't need a telescope. You already have a cosmic observatory right here between your ears. It's always open, it never closes, and it's free. That's the final, practical takeaway from the view from above. The whole exercise isn't about going somewhere far away. It's about learning the layout of a room that's already inside your awareness, a room with a dome that opens to the whole sky. A personal refuge you can step into whenever the world gets too loud. That's mental sovereignty. The ultimate tool for reclaiming your peace isn't an app or a retreat. It's this built-in capacity to rise, to look, and to understand. Marcus Aurelius pointed right to this. He wrote that people look for retreats in the country, by the sea, in the hills. But he said that's unphilosophical. You can retreat into yourself at any time. Nowhere, he said, can a person find a more peaceful retreat than in his own soul. To have the soul at hand, ready to calm itself, to be sufficient unto itself, that's the goal, to make your own mind its own universe, a complete and ordered cosmos of thought, where you are both the observer and the gentle curator. Your personal observatory is that soul, ready and waiting. So how do you use it in the rush of daily life? Think of a stressful commute, trapped in a train or in slow traffic. The air feels thick with everyone else's frustration. That's the perfect moment to retreat, not by closing your eyes, but by opening the dome of your inner observatory. In your mind, you step back from the crowded feeling. You see the train from above, moving like a lit caterpillar along its track. You see the web of roads, the thousands of cars, each with a human story inside, all flowing in a shared pattern. From that quiet mental platform, the cramped feeling loses its grip. You're still on the train, but you're also in your observatory, watching the train. And that makes all the difference, or in a tense meeting when voices rise and opinions clash. Instead of getting pulled into the crossfire, you take one quiet breath and ascend to your private viewing deck. You see the meeting room as one of millions happening right then. You see the conflict not as a personal battle, but as a temporary friction of ideas. From that calm height, you can choose your words with precision, not with heat. You become the one who brings perspective back into the room. So let's build that observatory right now, so you know how to find it. If you can, close your eyes for a moment. Take 3 slow breaths in and out. With each exhale, feel yourself settling into a quiet, centered space within. Now, in your mind's eye, picture a place, your personal cosmic observatory. It can look like anything: a stone tower on a quiet hill, a sleek platform floating in silence, a simple chair under an open, star-domed sky. This is your sanctuary. Step inside, feel the solid floor beneath you. Look up, the ceiling is gone. You have a clear, unobstructed view in all directions. This is your vantage point. From here, you can look down at the day you've had or forward at a challenge you face. You can zoom in to see the details, or zoom out to see the continent, the planet, the stars. This space is always here, yours, so take a final look around your observatory. What do you see from this place of perfect quiet? What does your current concern look like from this new, permanent home for your peace? We began with a definition, an ancient mental exercise, a tool for perspective. Its roots go back to Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who used it to govern an empire and his own soul. Then we walked through the modern applications, how it can dissolve anxiety by revealing its scale, diffuse anger by showing its brief lifespan, right-size ambition by framing it against the cosmos. The message is simple. Our problems shrink not by magic, not by wishing them away. They shrink by a deliberate choice, the choice to see them in their true proportion. To place them on a map of a continent, on a timeline of centuries, against the backdrop of stars, that choice is always yours. Marcus Aurelius had a final thought on this freedom. He wrote, "Take away your opinion, and you take away the complaint, I have been harmed. Take away that complaint, and the harm is taken away. So often the harm isn't in the event. It's in the opinion we cling to, the story we tell. The view from above helps you put that story down. It lets you see the world and your place in it as it truly is. Not as your fears paint it. Make this exercise part of your toolkit. Start with the 1-minute daily practice. Use the 10-10-10 rule as a quick check. Visit your personal observatory when the noise gets too loud. Let this perspective become a habit, a reflex for peace. If this was valuable, consider subscribing. There's more Stoic wisdom to explore, more tools for building an unshakable life, and I would love to hear from you. In the comments, share this. What is one problem, one weight you are carrying that you will first apply the view from above to? By sharing, we create a community of practice, a reminder we are not alone in the struggle to see clearly. We are all learning to look from a higher floor.